Welcome back to Greg's Gruns. You know, I used to lust over a certain pistol, and I finally got one. It's one of the more expensive pistols, production pistols ever made. In fact, it was marketed that way by a certain German company. And of course, we're talking about the HK P7. Today we're here to talk about how the P7, this one is an M13, but it doesn't really matter. But this is the most overrated handgun in the history of ever. And I'll tell you why. So the P7 was marketed as the most expensive handgun. I'm not sure why the hell you would market a handgun like that. Being expensive is not really a feature, it just means that it costs more. I can roll in the official HK ad. This handgun does have a number of interesting design features. Notably, the striker system actually cocks when you grab a hold of the handgun so that you can fire it. This particular handgun was made in 1984, I believe, and it's an M13. So this is kind of the creme de la creme of the P7 lineup. There's a number of different P7s that you can get a hold of. The M13, of course, holding 13 rounds. So on paper, the P7 really does have a lot of features, and it kind of makes sense for like a law enforcement agency to adopt it. The squeeze cocking, in theory, is a safe way to carry around in the chamber. And theoretically, if somebody gets a hold of this pistol and they don't know about the mechanism, they can't shoot the pistol. So that does happen to cops a lot. They get their weapons taken from them, and that could be marketed as a feature of this pistol.
I just realized where that squeeze cocking mechanism was, and I have to say it looks pretty silly to me. It's pretty funny.
Looks
Why
pretty
not put
weird.
it in the back? Like,
ask
ask
HK.
Anyway,
There's a lot of really silly things about this pistol. This was kind of when HK was not the most well-known firearms manufacturer that we know today. Besides the squeeze cocking, they did have pretty good sights, and they used a gas retardation system. That's right.
whoa, you can't say that on the internet, man.
This pistol.
You're really showing your age.
this pistol is a gas retard, is what I'm trying to say. The real reason why this pistol didn't really go anywhere, I think, is because it doesn't shoot very well. And I don't mean it's not accurate. It is accurate. The trigger is actually very good because you do all of the cocking action with your hand. So you get a nice, in theory, a nice clean trigger pull, which you do, kind of, and we'll get into that. I realized that I never got into that, and really my problem with the trigger isn't that it's a light trigger or anything like that. It's the size and shape of the trigger itself. It's actually very small and kind of forces my finger up into the trigger guard. It's also kind of a little bit too curved, and it doesn't really give you a lot of feedback. Most triggers, pistol triggers, have some kind of a wall, some sort of two-staginess going on, and the P7, I guess, technically does, but it is very difficult to find exactly where the trigger is going to break. And then the reset is, well, good luck finding it. It's difficult to find the reset. Shooting this gun kind of feels like shooting a Makarov or Walther PPK. The recoil impulse is not terrible, but it's not super soft shooting either. It doesn't feel like shooting a Browning action. Let's get into a little bit of shooting, and I'll tell you why I think this pistol kind of sucks and why it went away. Although it is making a comeback for some reason. So the P7 really made a number of very bizarre ergonomic choices, which I think is kind of what I'm going to call the Reddit effect. If Reddit were to design a pistol, it would probably be a lot like the P7. It's thoroughly over-engineered. Probably a lot of people had input on it, and none of the people actually had a lot of practical real-life experience with shooting handguns, probably. I don't know that for a fact. All you HK design engineers from the 80s can blast me in the comments if you want to, but the first bizarre design choice was to have the magazine go in at an angle that is not the same as the grip. So the magazine sits something like that inside the pistol and goes in like that. Just not, can you get used to it? Yeah, but is it the most intuitive way to load the pistol? No, it's not. So when you go to do a reload, I mean, it's not the worst. Obviously I reload pistols a lot, but you tend to want to go like this with your reload, but instead you have to be like, "Ugh, okay."
That looks weird.
It looks super weird, doesn't
Eject
it?
it real quick, but don't take it all the way out. So, yeah, put the tip in.
Right? That looks
Really weird.
like it doesn't, it shouldn't do that. But it does.
But it do.
But it do that. This video is brought to you by Greg's Grips. This is definitely an American-made 1911 with actually American-made Carlo Walnut Double Diamond Grips made by yours truly. Available at gregsgrips.com. Also, Hudson H9 or Daniel Defense H9 grips are available too if you have one of those and you want to beautify your Daniel Defense H9. I make walnut grips or any other kind of wood. Just send me a DM and I'll get you hooked up. All right, so I'm going to shoot a little bit. Okay, we have a malfunction. Now some of this might have something to do with the fact that this pistol is like kind of old. But when I bought it, it really didn't have that many rounds through it, if any rounds at all. So it's not because it's worn out. Yeah, so it's really not pleasant to shoot. I'm not going to say that it's unpleasant, but why anybody would want to emulate this design to bring it back from the dead, I don't know why. It really is not super soft shooting. It is, however, accurate. It's accurate as shit, actually. I missed. So an intuitive, quote-unquote intuitive feature of this gun is that when you go to reload, you just do that, which that is actually pretty slick. The reason why you have to do that is because there's no fucking slide stop. Actually, there is a slide stop. It's right here, and we'll talk about that in a second. That's one of the big Achilles heels of this pistol, is that it has no slide stop. Yes, you can just use the cocking mechanism to close the slide, but if you have any kind of malfunction, it's going to be a big pain in the ass to clear it with no slide stop.
I imagine it's ready to go.
If you loaded it, yeah.
It's loaded. Let's see. It's not
as easy.
Not soft, you know. You gotta actually squeeze that, I imagine.
Pretty hard.
that would contribute to some hand fatigue.
Well, once it's squeezed, it's actually not hard to keep it squeezed.
That's a little jumpy. Oh, that trigger's nice though. Okay.
Did it not lock open?
It did not lock open.
So, what do you think?
That first shot was like surprisingly
Snappy?
snappy, but like the following shots weren't, which I thought was weird. Maybe I just got used to it, or
Now try to lock the slide open.
like how?
How indeed?
Well, you're supposed to just like.
No, it has a slide lock, but you'll
Oh,
that's the disassembly thing.
Okay.
I'll do it in a second here, but you'll never figure it out. It's so stupid. It's a pistol of all time. They don't jump out. They kind of just fall out. It's fucking goofy, isn't it? So to lock it back, it's this button. And honestly, the best way to do it is to put in your left hand. It's this thing. And let's take the mag out.
You're not pointing at the slide. There's a button above it. Okay.
This. Of course it is, right? It's this fucking thing.
That doesn't even look like a button.
It doesn't even look like a button. It looks like part of the damn
Yeah.
slide. And
once you see it, once someone points it out to you, you see it.
but
I didn't see it when I was.
But trying
holding
to operate this button in any kind of like stressful environment or with gloves or no, it's just not going to
Guns
happen.
aren't made to be used in stressful environments.
They marketed this as being used in fucking stressful environment. They're like, there's no safeties to think about. You just pick it up and you just squeeze it and it's ready to shoot. It's like, no. What if you have a fucking double feed and you have to lock the slide open
Doesn't
quickly?
double feed. It's new.
It doesn't double feed.
But I
Okay.
will say, to your point about someone just picking it up and not being able to use it, if they took it off of somebody who knew how to use it,
It takes some
that
force.
squeeze is
Right.
a little stronger than you would anticipate.
Yeah. So if you just hold it like a thug, you don't really have much pistol training and you're just kind of holding it, like it won't shoot. You got to actually consciously squeeze
Even
it.
if you hold it sideways, it won't shoot.
It won't shoot like this. It's got a gyroscope in it. Actually will not shoot like
It's got
this.
a mercury switch.
Yeah, so it cuts off if you try. And then if you do this, it's like it's a double safety. It won't shoot at all. So
Say because I'm a thug.
So yeah, that's the P7, and people are remaking this pistol, and I think whatever, more power to them. If you like the P7, tell me I'm an idiot down in the comments. But I'm not gonna say that I hate this gun, but I wanted to like this gun a lot more than I do. I even got a holster for like carrying it. I'm not gonna carry this thing. It's just, it doesn't shoot that nice. It's accurate, but it's snappy. It only holds 13 rounds. And honestly, the slide lock situation makes it just, nope, I'm not gonna carry a gun like that. So I guess we can take it apart. So of course the magazine situation is, well, expensive. This is a Ban era magazine. I bought 2 of these and one of them doesn't work. So you can imagine how happy I am about that. Also an interesting thing I noticed, because of the way the pistol works, it actually kind of gets like gas and soot all over the top of the magazine, almost like you're shooting suppressed. Of course, this is not suppressed. It almost feels like you're shooting suppressed because it kind of shoots some crud in your face when you're shooting it. Like, I don't know what it is, but clearly the gas, here's your gas piston. How it works, for those of you who don't know, basically there's a tube inside of here, right under the barrel, and when the slide is closed, the piston, which that's what this is, sits in the tube, and the gas from the chamber, there's a hole in the chamber, is bled off, and it holds the slide closed until chamber pressure drops. And then once the chamber pressure drops, it's free to cycle normally. But it's a kind of a dirty system. It requires a lot more maintenance. People tend to say that you should clean your P7 every like 500 rounds, which is a lot more cleaning than I think a normal pistol normally needs. The construction, I'm not going to get too deep into it, but it's basically a block that's TIG welded inside here, and if those welds are messed up, you've got a very expensive paperweight, or it might break soon. As you can tell, it's kind of a overly complicated, overly German Reddit pistol, like I said. It's got a more extensive maintenance cycle than a normal pistol, which is why I don't think a lot of militaries used it. So it's maintenance heavy, spare parts are kind of iffy, and they're very, very, very expensive. In fact, that was marketed as a feature, how expensive the pistol was. So that's the P7. This is probably even one of the better ones because it's the double stack version. It's a little chunky, but it's not too bad. It's much like a Glock 17 or something like that. It's not too bad. If you carry a P7, you can tell me I'm an asshole for not liking it, but I think it's extremely overrated. Probably one of the most overrated guns that I've ever bought.
Hello there. As you all know, the Patriots have raised the prices on everything to stimulate the war economy. This means that the cost of production has really gone up. If you feel like supporting the channel, please like and subscribe, tell your friends, share the video, and if you want to be really good, click the link below for the Patreon.
Is that the title for the video? The most retarded gun?
The most gas retarded gun ever produced.